I want you to hit me as hard as you can.
Welcome to Joe Blow's Trailer Breakdown. Today, it's back to the 90s with Marvel's Captain Marvel. Yeah, you heard me right. So let's get down to business. Los Angeles Metro System. Starting the trailer off this way means they don't have to cater to the expectations of 90s nostalgia by kicking it off with a neutral setting. Unless, of course, you're familiar with the 90s Metro System in Los Angeles.
So, Skrulls are the bad guys.
Dialogue as trailer narration, number 675,000.
And you're a Kree, a race of noble warriors.
That's right, folks. Nick Fury is back in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And this little narration is almost more than he's got to say in the last 3 years of Marvel movies. So, hey, that's an official welcome back to Director Fury.
Captain, my captain.
Reinforcing the fact that this old lady is not what she seems, we have the awkward smile trope, which is common in lots of different movies. From Terminator to Star Trek, characters not knowing how to smile normally is a signal, an easy signal to the audiences that something is not quite right. Plus, who punches a sweet old lady in the face anyway for no reason? Not Captain Marvel, that's who.
Heroes. Noble warrior heroes.
Now, this is the source of the voiceover narration I was talking about earlier. So very early on and very quickly, the stage is set for a battle between two warring species that comes to Earth. We can safely assume that the old lady is a Skrull, as Captain Marvel is a Kree. Cut to our first out-of-this-world location. Another deliberate strategy to show us that the story also takes place on two fronts, on Earth and in space. Cue slow motion team walk. Because what blockbuster action movie is complete without a slow motion team walk? And here comes that Marvel logo, 10-year anniversary and all. At this point, that's as good a mark of prestige as I ever saw. Because money talks and DC walks. Ooh, yeah, I said it.
I was gonna say something along that line. It's complete horror.
Your life began the day it nearly ended.
Here we get a little bit more exposition, but from a different voice from earlier. Who could it be? Cue iconic dramatic actor intro in 3, 2, 1. Academy Award nominee Annette Bening.
There's a mistake. Moonlight, you guys won Best Picture.
Our second strong female presence thus far in the film. These series of clips, as well as her narration, or voiceover, or scene dialogue, if you will, tells us that she is somehow responsible for making the hero who she is, turning her from a human zero to a Kree hero.
One of us. So you could live longer, stronger, superior.
$6 Million Man reference! Maybe a little too old of a reference for all you Generation Z kids out there, but it's a deep cut if I do say so myself. And no, it's not a reference to Kanye West, even though he got his own reference from Daft Punk, who probably got it from $6 Million Man. Probably.
Better, stronger, faster.
But I digress. Now, what might not be intentional is this Mega Man pose. But if it is, I tip my hat to the directing duo. Or should I say Mohawk? Can you tip a Mohawk? Well, I guess technically, well, can you tip a Mohawk? Maybe you can't. Well, it's on your head, so you can't really tip unless you tip. Well, never mind.
I keep having these memories. Something in my past is the key to all of this.
At this point, the memory loss I talked about earlier is visually represented on screen through edits. This is done through the use of flashbacks intercut with scenes from the present day. There's a slightly sinister air to the way it's cut together, which tells us that perhaps the way she got that way is something that's going to be integral to the plot, and maybe everyone who we've seen thus far is not necessarily to be trusted. Barrel roll. A nod to her forgotten past as a fighter pilot. And you can't think fighter pilot without thinking Top Gun. It's Top Gun with ladies and aliens and superpowers. So you might be thinking to yourself, Samuel L. Jackson's looking kind of weird. And that's not just because he has two good eyes. Two. Disney have been evolving a visual effects technique over the last few years, known in the industry as de-aging technology. We've previously seen Michael Douglas, Robert Downey Jr., Carrie Fisher, and others undergo transformations where they look a lot younger in the movies than he did in real life at the time of shooting. One of the first most extensive uses of the technology was in Tron Legacy, also a Disney production. But this film looks to be one of the longest and most successful implementations of this technology in the motion picture. More barrel roll! Trailers, just like movies, implement what you call a visual motif. This could be a visual style or particular image or something in that vein that recurs throughout the movie. It's also a nice dynamic way within the context of a trailer to get us moving from a dialogue scene into a series of action sequences.
You know how to fly this thing?
We'll see.
That's a yes or no question.
Yes.
A lot of modern trailers for popular movies tend to have this little section in the middle of the trailer where the music cuts out and you kind of just get to watch a scene in its entirety that's slightly offbeat from what we've seen before. All those flashbacks to her being a pilot in the past just paid off. That's called foreshadowing. Within a trailer, obviously things are happening very quickly, but even if you didn't get it, it's still kind of like a little cool scene to show that she has skills that we are not aware of. Literal helmet hair. Good one.
Would you like to know what you really are?
We have not yet been explicitly introduced to them, but we can assume, based on all the dialogue from before, that these are the Skrulls. You might recognize the voice as Australian actor Ben Mendelsohn, who is the official villain of the piece. I say official because with this whole memory loss business, it's pretty clear that someone else is probably involved in wrongdoing. Plus, you've got old ladies who are kicking ass on the bus, so everyone's a suspect. Our hero's journey is set up as a search for her identity. An identity that will no doubt lead to her becoming something more than what she is when we find her at the start of the film. Of course, the trailer does not divulge all those details, but watching the movie, you would have the basis with which to understand and appreciate that journey in its entirety. Jude Law feature shot. Is he friend or foe? Only time will tell.
You've come a long way, but you're not as strong as you think.
Another popular marketing trick is caption play, not the official term. Everything begins with her, a hero? Whoa. The concept of hero is also another motif that was planted earlier on in the trailer. So we have both narrative and visual motifs there to clue you in to the structure of the story. Action montage.
It's just the beginning.
I'm not gonna fight your war.
It's a bit of a blink and you'll miss it moment, but here is the villain in human form. We've established, even if only indirectly, that the Skrulls have the ability to change their appearance. Those familiar with the comics would already be aware of this, but for people who are just discovering the film for the first time and the characters, this lays the groundwork for what's to come. And here we have another visual motif in the use of quick cuts of flashbacks and present-day scenes showing the growth of the character, which accompany and reinforce the bold statement she's making about what she intends to do to the bad guys. And you best believe she's going to do it herself, because...
Noble warrior heroes.
That's right. Cue hero shot. Here we get a culmination of a lot of the visual cues from earlier on in the trailer of her as a fighter pilot and the skills that she has, giving us a glimpse at the extent of her powers and just how capable she is as a hero. Those people who are going to see this movie have very likely seen Avengers Infinity War, and as a result of that, this very, very small detail is something that they might recognize, a direct link between both films. Spoilers for Infinity War for that one person who somehow hasn't seen it, but the pager at the end of the movie has a symbol on it. That symbol kind of looks like the one that's back there behind the title, doesn't it? Kevin Feige loves it when the plan comes together. Another common and very popular trailer trope is the post-title scene, almost like a post-credit scene, if you will. It's usually a fun and or badass sequence that shows off a slightly lighter tone compared to the epicness that was a scene that came just before the titles hit the screen. And what better way than to have a bad motherfucker playing with a cat?
Aren't you the cutest little thing? Aren't you cute? And what's your name, huh?
Fury.
What's cute? I'll be back.
So, should you go see it? Not only do Marvel have a decent track record when it comes to superhero movies over the last 10 years, but this is their first bona fide female-led superhero movie in that whole time, and it's out on International Women's Day. Also, you have no choice if you want the real full story before Infinity War Part 2, or Avengers 4, or whatever it is they're gonna call it. We're gonna find out any day now. As a first full trailer, it's informative, it's fun, it's dynamic, even if slightly underwhelming as far as really giving us a good sense of what the film is going to be like. It has some cool sequences, and it services getting across the basic plot in a relatively efficient manner. But trailers for franchise titles such as this are pretty much obligatory tasters for what is sure to be a box office hit. At the very worst, if nothing persuades you watching this whole trailer, you'll be sure to witness, when you go to theaters next year in March, what promises to be the most expensive cat video of 2019. Early 2019, at least.
Aren't you the cutest little thing?
Thank you for watching this Joe Blows trailer breakdown. See you next time.